I am officially cancer free. No further treatments needed. I am so happy. I'm gonna finish this vlog when I get home because, yeah. Welcome back to the channel. Bulze here, Sensational Butterfly Queen. In 2019, I went to the doctor because I was having heavy menstrual periods, and they gave me what is called a hysteroscopy, where they go in with a camera and a small little instrument, and they snip a little piece of your uterine lining. And the results of that hysteroscopy said that I had endometrial hyperplasia, which is basically precancerous cells in the lining of the uterus. So at that point, my doctor wanted to remove the uterus. Of course, I didn't want to remove the uterus because I was still looking forward of having, natural thyroid one day. And I didn't follow up with the doctors. She wanted to do, she also offered an alternative, which was hormone replacement therapy, which looking back now, I really should have followed up, but I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't follow up. And so fast forward years later to 2022, and my periods was extremely heavy. Like, I mean, so heavy that I didn't even want to leave the house. And at the time, I was having a lot of shortness of breath and, heart palpitations. And of course, I thought, that maybe I was putting on a little bit more weight, and so that was contributing to the shortness of breath and all that different stuff. Little did I know that that was one of the symptoms, because I was having such heavy menstrual flow. What was happening is that I was losing my iron levels, were being depleted, and so which was something in my case was normal for me, because ever since I was a child, I knew I had low iron levels, and I always had to be supplemented with iron pills. And so when I went to the doctor and they said that my hemoglobin levels were low, I didn't think anything strange of it, because I always had this issue with the irons. But my iron levels went from like medium to dangerously low. Like, your iron levels is supposed to be between I believe is 11 and 15. Mine own was at a 5. And so I had to have iron transfusion to build back up my blood. So in 2023 now, I went to the doctor again because my period was becoming much more heavy. Like, and they were lasting longer. Before, it was lasting like maybe 2 weeks. This time was lasting like 3 weeks. And so yes, we're losing that amount of blood like every 3 months, every 2 to 3 months. Of course, my iron levels was being depleted, and I was craving so much ice. Like, I would wake up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and go to the fridge and eat a whole cup of ice. And that was also a symptom of your iron levels. When your iron levels are that depleted, it means that the organs on the inside of your body will begin, at one point, they will start to shut down on you as well. So if you are craving a lot of ice, you better check your iron levels and check your organs, because it's very dangerous to have low iron, which I didn't realize. But yeah, it's very, very dangerous to have low irons, because over time your organs will begin to shut down, because you're not getting enough supply of oxygen from your blood. Anyway, so 2023, I started having these heavy periods again, and but they were much more heavier, and I was getting like heavy, like the size of my hand of blood clots. So those are very scary. I went to the doctor. Of course, they sent me for ultrasound, MRI, and all this different stuff, and it still wasn't conclusive. So they wanted to do like a dilation where they basically will dilate my womb. But the catch is they had to do that at least maybe 5 days after my menstrual cycle. But I couldn't do that because it's like I was always constantly on my menstrual cycle. Every time they would schedule the procedure, I was always on my menstrual cycle. So I left that gynecologist and I went to another gynecologist to see if there's anything else that they can do other than waiting for this test. So I went to the other gynecologist and explained to him what was happening, and he said he's not gonna wait for any other test. He's just gonna give me a DNC, which I didn't even realize that a DNC wasn't just for miscarriages and for abortions only, because that's what I thought, growing up. That's all I heard. When you have a miscarriage, people doing an abortion, they do a DNC. So anyways, he said he will do a DNC where he will scrape all that excess buildup of blood on the uterine lining. He sent it away for testing and see what's going on the inside. When it came back, I don't know, but somehow I knew it wasn't gonna come back good. I don't know how, but yes, actually I do know, because the reason why I went to the doctor in 2023 in the first place is because I had a dream, and in that dream I was taking out my uterus, and I woke up and I was like, oh, the devil is a liar, you're not going to take my uterus, and all this different stuff I was saying, canceling the plans of the enemy. But a week or two went by and I still felt very uneasy and unsettled in my spirit. So I said, you know what, it's better to go to the doctor and for them to rule out anything that is happening on the inside than for me to sit down here and to wait and not know what's happening. Because for me, a lot of times I get warnings in my dreams. So I went to the doctor just because I had that dream. I went to the doctor. Crazy, I know, but yes, that is my life. So I went to the doctor and they did the test, the procedure, and it came back that I had endometrial cancer. I ain't gonna lie, when I heard that diagnosis, my heart sunk to a low place. Like, immediately my mind went to like, dang, I'm not gonna have any kids. I wasn't even scared about the diagnosis. I was scared. I was more upset about the possibility that I wasn't gonna have any kids. And so of course that was, they told me if they take out the uterus, I will be cancer free. And at first I said, okay, go ahead and do what you have to do. But somewhere along the line, and I said, no, I'm gonna get a second opinion, because I didn't like the way the first specialist, the first oncologist that my gynecologist sent me to, I didn't like the way how he was basically talking to me. Like, yes, he was very knowledgeable and everything, but he didn't have any bedside manner whatsoever, no compassion whatsoever. He was just very matter of fact, cut and dry, and I didn't like that. So I went to another doctor for a second opinion, and this was at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital, which is a cancer specialist hospital. So I went there, and they did their own test, and they told me, yes, they confirmed, yes, it is cancer. What they also said is that it wasn't at the higher grade that my previous doctor told me. It was at a lower grade, but yes, it was still cancer. And they also advised me to take out my womb. But they were also willing to work with me to see if they can help me to preserve fertility, to get a baby or anything like that. So that's what I did for 9 months, basically, for 9 months. And also on the side, I was also doing my own home remedies, like holistic treatments. And I'm not gonna tell you what holistic treatments I use, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. That's my disclaimer. So do your own research and whatever. But yes, there are health holistics things out there that can help you with treating cancers and that have been proven to reverse cancer. However, in my situation, while I was taking those holistic treatments, I was also doing research, and in those research, it never said there was no result for the type of cancer I had. And I believe that's because majority of the people, when the doctors tell them that they have endometrial cancer in the uterus, they automatically just do what the doctors tell them to do, which is to remove the uterus. And so I went about for 7 to 8 months, yes, trying the holistic route, and as well as walking along with my doctor. I had to do multiple MRIs, and DNC procedures over and over for them to basically see if I still had cancer. And ultimately, I decided that I didn't want to go through the multiple MRIs, because it was just a bit much having to do the MRI, because you think, oh, an MRI is just a simple situation where you just go into the scanner and they scan your body. But no, they have to put an IV into your hand. They have to give you like this special medicine called a contrast into your body, and that contrast has a lot of side effects. And so I decided that I didn't want to keep going and doing the MRIs, because every time I did an MRI, I came out and I kept having like these nasty headaches. And so that's probably because of the dye that they have to inject into your system in order to light up your body. And so I did like 3 MRIs plus CAT scans. And so I decided I didn't want to continue going, because that's the only way that they would have to evaluate me. Like I would have to keep doing the DNCs where they're scraping the uterus, I'm removing a piece of the lining and sending it for testing. And ultimately, I said if my choice was to preserve fertility so that one day I can have a kid, that is not gonna help it, because when you do multiple DNCs like that, it actually scars the inside of your uterus, which is basically counterproductive. So I decided, I'm gonna just bite the bullet, say goodbye to my uterus, and grieve not having the ability to naturally produce a child. And so I ultimately made the decision to have a hysterectomy. And it's been almost 3 months now since I had the surgery, and I don't say I regret having the surgery, but sometimes my mind wonders whether or not I did it too quickly or not. But just having the peace of mind of knowing that I don't have cancer in the body is more than enough for me, because I'm telling you, when you hear that you have cancer, there's a mental block that goes on the inside of you. It's like, it doesn't matter the amount of support that you have from your outside community, that you knowing within yourself that there's cancer on the inside of you, and there's a possibility of death if you don't do anything about it. it weighs heavily on your mindset, and the mental struggle is worse than the physical symptoms. Actually, for me, the mental battle was worse than having the symptoms of a low blood and feeling weak and dizzy and almost passing out in the street, and all these different things that led up to the actual diagnosis of having cancer. Um, but I'm happy that I can say that I don't have cancer. So I am officially cancer free. No further treatments needed. I am so happy. I'm gonna finish this vlog when I get home, because yeah. On the day that I went in to do the actual procedure, I don't know what happened. I was so happy. I was smiling. I was happy. The only time I wasn't happy was when they had to give me that IV, because as big as I am, I do not like needles. Plus my veins are very small, and so they always have to poke me like a million at one time just to find the vein. And so I was more nervous about getting the IV in my hand, which is weird. Not about the actual surgery where they're putting you under, but the little IV, with the little needle. That's what I was worried about. And so yeah, I went and they did it laparoscopically, which is like robotic assisted. I put a little video of my doctor showing me of what they did to me.
This is when your bladder, so we're pushing your bladder down. Your uterus looks really nice. This is your left tube and ovary. We took the tube off, kept your ovaries inside. Right, you had another fibroid down there on the left side at the bottom. It looks bigger. The robot makes everything look bigger. Okay, this is your bladder that we're just dissecting down. Okay, and then this is when we take the blood supply to the uterus. Just taking the blood supply. This is the back side of the uterus. Right, just dropping all that tissue down. This is your colon down there.
Wow.
Okay. And then just taking the blood supply here on this right side, pushing it all down, making sure the bladder is nice and safe. And then this is where we cut into, there's a device inside the vagina that's pushing the uterus and the cervix up. So just cutting around where the cervix meets the vagina to finish the hysterectomy, and then pulling the uterus out.
Okay.
Took us a while to pull it out, and then I know it looks bloody. It's very minimal. Pushing the bladder down.
It looks brutal.
Yeah, but it's not. Look at how nice it looks. And then we close up the top of the vagina with this nice suture. See? This ends up being the vaginal cuff, right? To make sure this heals really nice. Your ovaries are still inside. I just check. I make sure there's no bleeding anywhere. Look how beautiful it looks. Now that's everyone in the operating room.
Okay. She showed me like how they were, on the inside when they took out the actual uterus. And yeah, I found that surgery very fascinating. And I have a lot of respect for these doctors that use the robotic assisted surgeries, because they have to be very precise in order to control those little the mechanism for the robot. But I'm happy today, I'm not happy that I don't have a uterus, but I'm happy that I don't have cancer, and that God chose to show me in a dream that something was going on in my body. And if I had ignored that, who knows where I would have been today. So I could have ignored it, and then they would not catch it as early as they did. So I am grateful for that. So if you have any questions about the hysterectomy, or if you have to do one yourself and do you want more information, you can always write it in the comments and I can make another video about it. I am officially cancer free. The doctor that eventually did the surgery, she was like one of the sweetest little Asian ladies ever. And she was so caring, you know. She looked out for my well-being, you know. And even on the day of the surgery, all of the doctors that came into the room, the anesthesiologists, they all came in. They put my mind at ease. You know, they talked to me like a human being, as opposed to the previous oncologist who was just very cut and dry and matter of fact, and like, you know, let's get this over with and whatever, you know. So I would say advocate for yourself and also do your own research. Yes, do your own research. Don't take what I say, but do your own research. So today I am happy and I'm cancer free, and I don't know what else to say. You know, the recovery process bites. You know, some days I think, oh yeah, I'm better now, and then my next morning I wake up and I'm in so much, not pain, but the areas where the incisions were are still very much they're still very much tender, so I have to be careful. I'm on lift restrictions and all these different things, but I am truly grateful, truly grateful to be here and to have another opportunity to live out my life purpose on the earth. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't know when the next video is coming out, because like I said, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the background of my life still, but I'm grateful to be here on this side of heaven. So grateful. And that's it. God is good. If you're not a believer, I don't know what to tell you but to put your trust and your faith in God. Yes, your life is not going to be a bed of roses, but with God, life is better with God. I would rather live my life believing in a God than not believing in Him at all. So I'll see you guys in the next video.